Hi, I'm Batman. Even crime fighters have casual Friday, old chum. Batman, I just got a call on the bat phone. Our top 10 villains are gonna escape from Gotham Penitentiary. Holy Alcatraz! Great Scott! And with so many arch enemies, like the Mad Hatter, the Siren, and the Minstrel, how will we know which ones are in our top 10? I got it, Batman! We can ask the Bat Computer! Brain power can never be replaced by a computer, old chum. I suggest we make a YouTube video ranking our top 10 villains. Come on, Robin, to the webcam. We haven't one moment to lose! Batman kapowed on the television screens in January of 1966 and was immediately a cultural phenomenon. Kids tuned in for the adventure and the pow and bam action scenes, and adults tuned in for the unique and hilarious campy humor, but both tuned in for the villains. Some of the villains were taken directly from the comic book, while others were created just for the show, but they were always played by big stars.
During Batman's first season,
the show was more on the serious side, but with bits of comedy thrown in. Making it even more unusual was that it actually aired twice a week. A half-hour Batman episode would air Wednesday night, and would always end in a cliffhanger, and then on Thursday night, the story would conclude. After the first season, the TV cast made Batman the movie, which had a bigger budget, allowing for more gadgets. For the second season, the show became more focused on the comedy, and the ratings started to dip. So for the third season, it was cut to only one half-hour episode a week. Batgirl was added for sex appeal, the budget was slashed, and the episodes are overall considered the weakest of the series. There were 33 villains used throughout the 3 seasons, and here are their top 10 best ones. Holy guacamole! Our number 10 villain must be that cunning cowboy, Shame, played by Cliff Robertson. Shame is an ornery, pistol-packing cowboy with violent temper tantrums, but he's also a total idiot. And without his gun, he's a coward. When Batman producers approached Cliff Robertson, it was actually his idea to play a stupid cowboy. And in homage to the classic Western, they named him Shame. What I like about Shame is his theme. Most of the villains had a theme. Louis the Lilac liked flowers. Mad Hatter liked hats. But a lot of these themes are very limiting and kind of boring. But a Western theme encompasses a broad spectrum of stuff, and they take full advantage of it. Shame himself is a parody of a Western villain. He has Western-themed henchmen like Messy James. One of his death traps is a cattle stampede. And Batman and Shame even have a showdown.
your mother wore army boots. Yes, she did. As I recall, she found them quite comfortable. You big sissy, you couldn't drive nails in a snowbank. Why would I want to?
They take all these Western tropes, but do it in their campy Batman fashion, and it really makes Shame a saloon standout. Holy numero uno, our number 1 villain must be Robin. 1 doesn't come after 10. That would be false. Then holy Lon Chaney, our number 9 villain must be Falseface, played by Malachi Throne. Falseface first appeared in the 1958 Batman comic book, which served for the basis of his first season episode. Falseface is a master of disguise, and he can change his appearance to look like anyone. His vehicles are also rigged to change appearance, and he has a fondness for all things false. I think Falseface is the most exciting villain on the show, because you never know what's he going to do next, or who's he going to impersonate next. Also, the episode has a lot of car chase scenes, and because his car can change appearances too, those are also full of surprises. So it's really a one-of-a-kind adventure. I especially like it when he impersonates Chief O'Hara. Begorra, it's meself! Welcome to Dreamland, O'Hara! You get to see the evil Chief O'Hara! Which is very spooky, just like Falseface himself. In fact, he was a little too spooky for the younger kids, which is why they never brought him back. But he is still a one-of-a-kind villain. You've done it, chum, and now we must extract our number 8 villain from our minds. But who exactly could it be? Holy hard-boiled!
it must be Egghead, played by horror icon, intellectual, and art connoisseur Vincent Price.
Egghead initiated his Batman appearances with the second season episode An Egg Grows in Gotham, and he is the perfect blend of menace and silliness.
Part of the reason he's called Egghead is because he's the smartest villain in the world. In fact, he is so smart, he figures out that Bruce Wayne is Batman. He uses a machine to verify it, but he makes that deduction based only on his own speculation, which makes him very formidable. The other reason he's called Egghead is because he loves eggs! And there is an endless supply of egg jokes and egg-inspired props. Long ago, my superior intellect deduced that Batman must be a millionaire, because crime fighting is such an expensive hobby. Which one is it, Eggy Baby? Please, Miss Bacon, it's Mr. Egghead, not Eggy Baby.
He's so funny, and because of his approach to horror roles, Vincent Price was an expert at playing tongue-in-cheek evil characters. Unfortunately, when Egghead is brought back for the third season, he has a new girlfriend, Olga, the Queen of Cossacks, and it's really excruciating.
Olga bosses him around constantly, and Egghead becomes this cowardly fool. They even drop the super smart element of his character. Commissioner Gordon actually calls him stupid. Look who's talking. And it really takes the threat out of Egghead. But his second season appearance is still enough to make him one excellent number 8. Cool deduction, chum. And now, who is our number 7 villain? It seems chilly in here. You know what that means, don't you? Alfred put the air conditioning on high. Or, holy Klondike bar, it must be Mr. Freeze. Mr. Freeze is a mad scientist who performs ice-related crimes and can only survive at a temperature of 50 degrees below zero. Brrr. He appears in 3 different two-parters during the series, each time with a different actor playing him, giving a distinct portrayal to this frosty foe.
Hollywood icon George Sanders is a suave and sophisticated Mr. Freeze. He wears a special suit when he's out, but when he's just chilling in his hideout, he has a special controller to make hot and cold areas. It's also stated that Batman accidentally caused Mr. Freeze's ailment, making this Freeze have a sympathetic side.
No, you must pay for forcing me to live like this. Never again to feel the warmth of the burning log in winter time. Revenge! That is what I need! Revenge! I will have revenge!
When George Sanders was unavailable, he was replaced with actor and director Otto Preminger. This Mr. Freeze is more of a typical comic book villain. He has a groovy and iconic makeup, and while certainly campy, Otto, who played a Nazi in Stalag 17, brings a distinct, sinister, and cold-heartedness to the character.
Now you will be turned into frosty freezies. Wild!
However, on the set, Otto was a frozen pain in the butt. So, for Mr. Freeze's third entry, Otto was given a chilly reception and replaced by Eli Wallach. Eli is more of a light-hearted mad scientist. Although fiendish, he's also lovable and funny. He even has a girlfriend and a pet seal.
And $50 million is nothing to sneeze at! Of course I never catch cold. Although having the same actor would have given more continuity between the episodes, each one is so good that I can't complain. The other thing that I think is so cool about Mr. Freeze is just how comic booky he is. In each episode, he always has an elaborate cold-themed hideout. In I Spy, it's actually inside an iceberg. He has cool freeze-themed weapons, like the freeze gun, and a dry ice injector. That sounds scary. And he always has a grandiose plot. In Instant Freeze, it's to kill Batman. And in Green Ice and I Spy, it's to freeze Gotham City. It's like a lighthearted comic book come to life, which is Batman 66 at its best. Incidentally, Mr. Freeze had only appeared in one comic book story, and he was known as Dr. Zero. But he was permanently changed to Mr. Freeze because of the show. Batusi like an Egyptian. Holy mummy madness! Our number 6 villain must be King Tut, played by Victor Bueno.
King Tut is really Professor William Omaha McElroy, a professor of Egyptology at Yale University, who got conked on the head during a student riot, and now has a strange double delusion that Gotham City is the reincarnation of ancient Thebes, and he himself is the reincarnation of King Tut. It's hard to beat the main villains, like Penguin and Joker, so with King Tut, they do something completely different, and he is absolutely the funniest villain on Batman. The character himself is funny, because he goes from being this mild-mannered professor to a lunatic! And Victor Buono throws himself, all 400 pounds, into this character. First of all, he overacts like nobody's business. But it actually works, because in historical epics like the Ten Commandments, the acting is always hammy. Victor just does it to the extreme. And as King Tut, he is full of himself, childish, temperamental, and full of one-liners. Ah, turkey legs, my favorite fruit. Oh, when this too solid flesh melt away.
Why don't you go on a diet, fatty? Why don't you mind your own skinny business?
Outside of the four main villains, King Tut is actually in the highest number of episodes, and they're consistently good. They always have good plots with Egyptian themes, and they even build upon each other, with King Tut developing a hatred for Bruce Wayne. Because of the nature of his character, they're more comedy-oriented, and as they go into the third season, where a lot of the other villains are churning out weaker episodes, his are still marvelous, because he's funny regardless of a slash budget, and it makes this fabulous Pharaoh Pharaoh the perfect number 6. Oh, Dick! A fascinating new book just arrived for you in the mail. The World History of Bookbindings. Gee, thanks, Aunt Harriet. It sounds educational. Holy hardcover. Our number 5 villain must be the Bookworm, played by Rodney McDowall. The Bookworm, who was created for National Library Week, is a frustrated novelist who, because he can't write an original novel, uses plots from books to formulate his crimes. Of all the villains that were created specifically for the show, this has the single greatest idea behind it. It has the gimmick of books. So they're able to give him a bunch of crazy book gadgets and have him say a bunch of book puns, like, "Do you read me?" But this time, the gimmick is also tied to the motive. The Bookworm loves books. He reads them like there's no tomorrow, but he's not creative enough to write one. So out of that frustrated passion, he turns to crime. It gives him more character, and even a touch of tragedy, because you know why he's a criminal. And Rodney McDowall gives such a great performance. He's calm most of the time, but you can always feel the insanity underneath. Oh, Bookworm, with a mind like yours, I'm surprised you don't write your own bestseller.
You don't dare to say that to me! You're mocking me! Taunting me, aren't you? Why? Because I'm only the master of stolen plots! I lack originality! This will teach you!
He speed reads through that book so fast, it's so funny, but so frightening because of how fast he absorbs the information. And Roddy manages both the darkness and the comedy brilliantly. There were plans to bring the Bookworm back, but they never came to fruition, giving him only one two-parter. But I think the people behind the current Batman films and shows should really take a look at the Bookworm, because he has a depth of character that would totally work in a current Batman setting.
Gee, Batman, I'm stumped. I even asked the Bat computer who our number 4 villain is, and it gave me some name that I don't recognize.
Who did it say, Boy Wonder?
It says P.N.
P.N. P.N. Perhaps it's an alias.
P.N. Holy anagram! It must be the Penguin, played by Burgess Meredith.
The Penguin is a scheming criminal mastermind and lover of all trick umbrellas. He ties with the Joker for having the highest number of episodes, and is actually the main villain of the movie, where he gets to be in command of a penguin submarine and jetpack umbrellas, and his pompousness makes him the perfect leader of the group.
Mr. Joker, you're leaning on the current control. Well, don't sound so bossy, if you please. My dear sir, as the poet says, on land you may command, at sea it is me! Quack, quack! Wah, wah!
Burgess Meredith as the Penguin is like a living cartoon. He waddles when he walks. He makes a quack, quack sound, which was actually him clearing his throat from the cigarette smoke. And he even uses the cigarette holder as a way to indicate his mood. Happy, sad.
The other thing that I love about the Penguin is his amazing chemistry with Adam West. The Penguin just revels in having the upper hand, and Batman shows utter disgust for him. Their scenes together are always a comedy highlight of any bad adventure. Unfortunately, the Penguin sometimes gets stuck with weaker episodes, and his plots can be a little repetitive. For example, I can't tell you how many times he pretends to go straight. But this tricky bird is still one quack-tastic number 4. Sir, I was perusing the morning paper, and I discovered a riddle. Thank you, Alfred. What is green, mean, and has the name of a sausage? Great Scott! It must be that Prince of Puzzlers, the Riddler, played by Frank Gorshin. Holy leotards! With Master Dick upstairs, someone has to do it. The Riddler is a crazed villain who compulsively leaves Batman riddles, which lead to his crime. In the comics, the Riddler was actually a minor villain, but Frank Gorshin's amazing performance made him one of the main ones. He has a manic intensity as Riddler. He combined Richard Widmark's laugh in Kiss of Death with his own laughter at parties to create the frightening Riddler laugh. And when he's calm and not bouncing off the walls, you can always see the insanity in his eyes. Frank is the only actor to get an Emmy nomination for the show, and he deserved it. You totally believe his psychopathic obsession. And now, Batman, one final riddle before you die. Riddle me this! What has yellow skin and likes? Answer! A ballpoint banana! The Riddler appears in the very first episode, and they really set him up as Batman's ultimate adversary. First of all, they're intertwined. Riddler's obsession is specifically with leaving Batman riddles. And he's always a challenge, because Batman and Robin have to use their brain power to figure them out. As far as villains go, the Riddler appears in the highest number of first season episodes, and each one is a winner.
Unfortunately, after the movie, Frank wanted more money, and the producers didn't want to pay it. Subsequently, the Riddler only appears in one second season episode, and he's played by Gomez Adams himself, John Astin, who does a decent job, but is no Frank Gorshin. Frank does return for the third season, but only for one badly done episode. I understand Frank's perspective, and I understand the producer's perspective, but from a viewer's perspective, it feels like they dropped the ball on the Riddler. But when he's there, he takes your breath away. Robin, the Bat computer printed a picture of our number 2 villain. Who is it, Batman? Who is it, Batman? Holy meowmix! It must be Catwoman! Catwoman is a female cat burglar, and she's actually played by 3 different actresses throughout the course of the series, each one bringing her own take on it. But the main one is Julie Newmar. Julie is sexy, wily, extremely funny, and she actually develops throughout the series. She makes her debut in one of the best and most atmospheric episodes, The Perfect Crime, where she's more evil but likes to playfully tease Batman. At the end of the episode, she dies by falling into a bottomless pit. But, in the motif of cats having 9 lives, she comes back. When she returns, she professes her loneliness. Pengy is too short, and she doesn't like the Joker's hair. But at the end, Batman saves her life, and she develops a crush on Batman. He likes her too, but she's a criminal and he's a crime fighter. I can help you in your work. As a former criminal, I'd be invaluable. I can reform. Honestly, I can. But what about Robin? Robin? Oh, I've got it. We'll kill him. I can see you haven't truly reformed. Their relationship continues throughout the second season, and they are so funny and interesting together, so that even when the plot of a specific episode is on the weaker side, you still have this to hold on to. and this fleshes out Catwoman and gives her more dimension than the other villains have. When they made the movie, Julie was unavailable, so she was replaced by Lee Merriweather. Lee plays it more straight, and with these three hams, it gives the group a good balance. She's also more of a traditional, cold-hearted femme fatale, and under the disguise of Miss Kitka, Bruce Wayne falls in love with her, as planned. When he discovers that she's Catwoman, he's genuinely hurt, and it gives the film heart. For the third season, both actresses were unavailable, so Eartha Kitt stepped in. Because she was African American, and it was 1967, they dropped the romance element, so you get a pure evil and sultry Catwoman. And she absolutely looks and sounds like a cat. Each actress makes the role her own, so they don't feel like replacements. And each one has their own distinct relationship with Batman, which is perfect for whatever you're in the mood for, and sets Catwoman apart from the other villains. And now for our number one villain, Minerva, played by Zsa Zsa Gabor. Zsa Zsa? That must be some kind of trick, or some kind of joke. Holy hijinks! It must be the Joker, played by Cesar Romero. The Joker is the clown prince of crime, a prankster, and the villainous heart of Batman 66. Because just like the show, his main motive is to have fun, and he is literally a comic book come to life. Outside of the TV show, the Joker is usually considered Batman's top villain, because he's such a great character. And like Batman himself, there's an inherent silly side, and an inherent dark side. The show is the perfect vehicle for the silly clown side. The Joker commits crimes for fun, and on this show, he's able to do the craziest things, like poison the Gotham City water supply by turning it into strawberry jelly. However, amongst the goofiness, they'll occasionally hint at the dark side. Welcome to my game show! What's my crime? And now, Batman and Boy Blunder! Are your blindfolds in place? What is wrong with this sentence? Thee who laughs last, laughs good! Along with that fiendish play on words, the Joker also likes to lead Gotham City's youth on the wrong path, and he even tries to kill a member of his own gang, Sweet Susie. Along with him being a great character, you cannot overestimate the performance of Cesar Romero. In the 30s and 40s, he was known as a great Latin lover of the screen. Now here he is, almost 60, wearing white makeup and a green wig, and you could tell he's having the time of his life. He's just beaming with enthusiasm. He has a fanciful walk, a great laugh, which you can even hear in Heath Ledger's laugh, and he is 100% committed to this character. Well, except for one thing. He wouldn't shave his mustache. It was his trademark. It's so goofy looking, but it's in total unison with the spirit of the show. We're gonna do a comic book, but with a little wink in our eye, and it's a trait that is totally unique to the Cesar Romero Joker. The other thing that makes the Joker so good is that he's in some of the best episodes of the series. The Joker is Wild, where he gets his own utility belt. The Zodiac Crimes, which is the 3-parter they did for the show's 1-year anniversary. And Surf's Up, Joker's Under, which is probably the best episode of the 3rd season. And there's so many others, and it's no coincidence. As I said earlier, the TV show was at its best when it was a crazy comic book come to life. And with the Joker, you can totally embrace that idea. Sure, the Joker can use a huge spring to escape from prison. Why wouldn't he have a giant clam? And naturally, he'll have a surfing contest with Batman. Because of his crazy character, you can run with that comic book idea to the absolute limit, in a way that wouldn't make sense for the other villains. And that is why the Joker is the number 1 1966 Batman villain. Now that we know our top 10 villains, we'll be all set for the prison break. Good work, old chum. And now we can... Great Scott! Holy unmasking! Oh, goodness me! Bruce has redecorated the basement! Will and Harriet discover Bruce and Dick's secret? Stay tuned tomorrow. Same bat time, same bat channel. With one word of warning, the worst is yet to come!